Welcome into Sports Talk at the stadium tonight from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, where South Carolina celebrated Senior Day with a victory over Western Carolina of the Southern Conference, 44-31 the final. USC wins it. The Gamecocks will go bowling this year after missing the postseason last season. Will Muschamp has come in and resurrected this Gamecock football program to the point that they will get the coveted 13th game and those 15 practices that go with it. So December will be something special once again for USC football. And the Gamecocks will have a chance to extend their bowl winning streak to 5 games. Now we'll have to wait and see where the SEC places the Gamecocks. Will it be Shreveport? Is it possible they could climb to something a little better than that? Well, with a win next week at Clemson, that would certainly be the case. But the Gamecocks really don't care. From the coaching staff to the players, they're just delighted to have the chance to go bowling once again. It means a lot to the program, national notoriety. You'll have pretty much a day to yourself on television, maybe share it with a few other games, but you'll have the ESPN coverage and everything that goes along with that. It certainly helps in recruiting, but most importantly, those extra practices are big for a young football team that South Carolina is. The Gamecocks had some good things today. They had some bad things. Of course, offensively against an overmatched Southern Conference defense, USC ran the ball at will. They had a season high in rushing. They had a season high in total offense. They had a season high in points. And they had a kickoff return by Deebo Samuel for 100 yards. But the story, freshman running back Rico Dowdle, 226 rushing yards. And he didn't play the last 6 minutes. That's the 6th best rushing performance in a game in USC history. 10 yards per carry. Imagine that, averaging almost a first down per carry. And he did it running between the tackles. He did it running outside. He did it breaking tackles. He is just a talent, and he is only going to get better. And imagine if the Gamecocks had had him at the beginning of the season to help what was then a very sluggish offense. Jake Bentley was solid today. He didn't have to do all that much. His numbers weren't great, but he protected the football. He had some nice scrambles. Deebo Samuel was excellent once again with 2 touchdowns, including the kickoff return for 100 yards for a score, and he had another score on the jet sweep, which the Gamecocks seem to prefer when they get inside the 10-yard line or so. A terrific receiver. Samuel has now scored 5 touchdowns this season, but none by receiving. They've all come on the rush or also now on the kickoff return. Those are some of the good things for South Carolina. The bad things, well, the defense gave up a season-high 31 points. They gave up a lot of rushing yards to Western Carolina. Their athletic quarterback and running back, they found some seams against the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks gave up another 100-yard rushing performance. They allowed a 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and another long return that set up a touchdown. So there are a lot of things that Will Muschamp and his coaching staff can work on defense and special teams between now and Clemson and now in the bowl game that need to be fixed. One thing he said after the game was they've just got to get faster on defense, and that will only come through recruiting, recovery speed, and things of that nature. On defense and on kick coverage, teams certainly have to be improved. But you know what? The warts of this game will be quickly forgotten because they got the Gamecocks a win on Senior Day. They've now won after starting out at 2-4. The Gamecocks now stand 6-5, so they've won 4 of their last 5 games, and they've got some confidence going into Saturday's game up at Clemson. The Tigers will, if things hold up for them, they're going to beat Wake Forest and clinch the Atlantic Division. They'll be thinking about the ACC championship game. They'll be thinking about the national playoff once again. But you know, at Clemson, one thing Dabo Swinney always stresses is winning the state championship. And they have turned the rivalry back up their way here the last 2 years after South Carolina dominated for 5 years in a row. And the Tigers will be the heavy favorite next week for sure. I would imagine somewhere between 17 and 22 points up there. But this win gives South Carolina a feeling of hope, and the performance of Dowdle in particular and running the football and Bentley protecting the football hitting his receivers at a pretty high percentage today. Offensively, it gives South Carolina something to build on. Can they come up with a sustained performance offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game to have a chance against the Tigers? It is a rivalry game, and of course, as we know, anything certainly can happen. And if Clemson plays sloppy football like they did last year against South Carolina, and as they have done at times this year, they're going to give South Carolina a chance to stay in the ball game. But that's a discussion for all of next week, and we look forward to having that discussion with you. Here on SportsTalkSC.com, we've got post-game coverage from the Gamecocks for you. Tomorrow, Sunday, we'll have the Will Muschamp conference call for you on the website. And, of course, Monday on Sports Talk and all through the week, coverage and the build-up to USC and Clemson. We also encourage you to call our What the phone line. You can see the number right there on the screen. If you have a comment or question about this game, or you want to look ahead to the South Carolina-Clemson game, we're also encouraging you to leave us your best Carolina-Clemson joke that we can run on Sports Talk during the week. That's a wrap from here at Williams-Brice. Gamecocks leave on senior day with a smile on the face with a 44-31 win over Western Carolina, and there will be a 13th game this season for Gamecock football. Thanks for joining in. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday night on Sports Talk.